Hey guys, welcome back. Short video here. All I want to do is show you how to update CentOS once you've installed it. Now, I'm already logged into the UI, so I just want to show you how to do that first, but I don't want you to become dependent on this because if you're on a previous version that doesn't have this option or doesn't have the UI, you really want to learn how to do this from the CLI, from the command line interface. A lot of the things that we do in Linux, we typically do from the command line because it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to script. It's a lot easier to run bulk commands. So you can essentially take a whole list of things that you want to do and you can paste it all in at once and just be done with it rather than having to click back and forth and find different options in the UI. So I'm going to show you both, but again, I really want you to be comfortable with using the CLI. So in version 9, you can come right up here to where the date is. If you left click on that once, you're going to see an option here to run your software updates. Anytime there's an alert or anything like that, this is just like Windows or Mac updates. You can come in here and you can update the operating system. If you go to your settings, again over here on the right hand side, if you click that, don't forget that this is a block of options here, so it's not like if you click on the shutdown button you should be concerned. You would come down here and you would go to settings, and then you would go and you would look at your update options and things like that. But again, I want to show you how to do this from the CLI. So what I'm going to do here is I've just opened up plain old PuTTY session, and I'm going to type in the IP address 192.168.71.131. By the way, if you missed the last video, let me just show you where I get that from. You can open up a terminal if you want to in the UI, and you can see your IP address. We'll probably do that some other time. But if you click on that the settings box here on the right hand side, and you go to wired connect or wired connected, click on wired settings. This is going to drop you into your settings window. Click on that gearbox there, and it's going to give you what your IP address is. So this is where also, by the way, if you're not looking to do this stuff in the UI, you can change your IP address settings. But again, we'll look at some of that stuff later in another video on how we alter that. I'm going to leave this set to Telnet. This is set to SSH, port 22. The IP address is correct. So when we hit open, this should come in. Now in PuTTY, it's going to ask me if I want to accept this SSH key. I'm going to say connect once. Typically, that's the one I recommend because if it changes, you want to know that, and you always want to be able to verify that you're connecting to the right machine. So we'll say admin, and I'm going to type in my password. Now, I've been dropped into the admin user, assuming I typed the password right, which it doesn't look like I did. All right, one more time. Okay, there we go. So I've been dropped into the admin user of my my Linux operating system. Now, anytime I want to enter a command that's going to fundamentally change the operating system, like if I want to go ahead and run updates, which is what we're going to do, I have to be an escalated user. I have to have root privileges. It's like a domain admin in a Windows world. I have to have root privileges in order to do that. There's two ways that I can go about doing this. Now, it's going to be weird because I'm going to enter in a few commands. I'm going to type in my password. So Linux may not ask me for the password again, whereas in your case it might because you're entering different commands. I'll show you kind of what I mean. So this command, sudo, is the command that we would use to escalate our privilege. So if I don't want to globally escalate my privilege for every command that I type, if I just wanted to do it once and then I'm automatically root, I'm escalated to that domain admin, if you will, for every single command that I enter for the rest of the time that I'm logged into this box, I would enter the command sudo su. Once I hit enter here, it's going to ask me for a password. It's going to ask me for my admin password to escalate to root. Now watch what happens to my prompt here once I do this. So if I hit enter here, it's going to say, hey, what's your password? I'm going to enter it in. Notice how the username here changed from admin to root, because now, even though I'm under admin, so you can see here that it changed, it put admin over here. So I'm under admin, I'm logged in as admin, but it's telling me by the prompt that I have root privileges. So if I exit out of here and I can type like a normal human, let's go back in. Let me just kind of show you what that looks like when I type the command for or when I type sudo for each command. So go ahead and we'll log back in. I'll say 192.168.71.131. This time what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just accept the key. That way for the rest of the course, we don't have to keep doing that because we obviously know that this is our testing box and we're good. So we'll say let me in. The other option is that I can use the sudo command before every command that I enter. So for example, I would say sudo yum, and we're going to say check updates. Now, the yum command in CentOS is going to be the command that I use to essentially execute every command afterwards. So for example, I want my operating system to check for updates, and the yum option, the yum command, is the command that I'm going to use to tell it to do that. In other operating systems like Ubuntu, you might use the app get, and we'll get to there. I'll have some Ubuntu videos with this, but I'm going to say sudo yum check update. When I hit enter here, you'll notice that it's going to ask me for that password again, and I'm going to say, here's my password, and I'm going to hit enter. What's going to happen now is that CentOS is going to go out to its repository, and it's going to ask for any updates of packages. So Linux is very different than Windows, although even though it's very much the same. So you have installed software on your Windows machine, whereas in Linux, it has installed packages. It's really the same thing. And just like Windows has a list of Windows update sites that it would go out and it would check, Linux has a set of repositories. It's really just a change of terminology that it's going to use to go out and say, hey, these are the packages that I have. Can you give me any of those updates? And here we go. So what I want to do now is I actually want to update that operating system. So I'm going to say yum update, and I'm going to say -y. Why do I do the -y? Because whenever Linux wants to update itself, or whenever you tell, I should say, Linux to update itself, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? And I really don't want to hit Y 100,000 times. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say all these are good. I want to go ahead and say yes. So I'm going to hit enter. Now, in my case here, it doesn't let me do it. And you can see why, because I'm not a super user. I don't have privileges to do this. Again, going back to that root privilege. If you look at my prompt, I'm not a root user. I don't have root privileges. So again, two ways that I can do this. I can either enter the sudo command in the beginning, so I can go here and I can do this. And once I do this, it would ask me for a password. It may not ask me because I already entered it previously, and it may have that cached already. So I can enter the sudo command first, and then I can go and execute this. Or what I can do is I can escalate my privilege. Let's say I was just building this box, and I'm not only going to run the updates, but after that I'm going to install 6 more packages. I'm going to build a web server. I have all these scripts I'm going to run and build. I have all this stuff. For me, I would probably just globally escalate my privilege using the su command and be done. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So sudo su, you can see that I've escalated my privilege, and I'm going to say yum update again, -y. This time it's just going to go ahead and it's going to automatically start downloading. You can see here it's going to install 4 new packages, and it's going to go ahead and update 118 packages. This is going to upgrade CentOS to the latest and greatest version, because just like in Windows and just like in Mac, you can go and you can download the overall operating system, but that operating system is not going to have all of the updates or any of the bug fixes or anything like that. And this is what we're going to do before we build anything, before we do anything. This is usually the first thing I recommend to do to make sure you're on the latest and greatest version. So anyway, short video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next one.